But, at the same time, we also see what's happening when we saw today that Madeleine King, the resources minister, this gives the game away, said to resources companies, hey, it would be really, really good if you guys, ahem, came out and supported The Voice, which, of course, we can only suspect, has a strong sort of sting in the tail, like, lovely application for a new mine you've got there. Be a shame if something were to happen to it. Now, this shows just how much I think corporate Australia needs to wake up because, corporate Australia got absolutely rolled on IR stuff. They got rolled on all these other things. They backed in Albanese, and if they back him in on The Voice, they're not going to get anything for it either.
Hang on, I just got to rewind. You've completely baffled and confused me, James. If I'm hearing you right, you're suggesting that a large bureaucracy in charge of, for example, say, Indigenous affairs, that you could have a large bureaucracy staffed with people and that it could not be entirely above board? That's never happened before, has it?
Well,
sorry, ATSIC, that was as clean as a whistle, wasn't it?
Well, I'm just, look, what I'm suggesting is, and I hate to be cynical, but that, that maybe that there could be these sort of transactional quid pro quos in politics. And gosh, I know that's a very cynical sort of thing. And I know that in a government that's all about
this is not the Australia. This is not the Australia
that you know. No, I'm sure.
I think what we need is an ATSIC with no accountability. An ATSIC that can't be sacked because it's in the Constitution.
Right. Yes. Put it in the Constitution.
It's there forever.
Rita solved the problem.
But you know what? We have so many advisory bodies already in this space. So this notion that Indigenous people don't have a voice, never mind the fact that we've got a number of 11, an overrepresentation compared to the population in the Australian Parliament. But there are advisory bodies. You can question how well they're doing and given the enormous investment in closing the gap and the lack of results there, that's, I think, where there needs to be a little bit of scrutiny about how we are managing.
Absolutely. And also, more importantly, what would The Voice do differently?
Yeah.
What is The Voice's bureaucracy somehow different to all those hundreds of other bureaucracies got billions of dollars of taxpayers' money, billions, literally. What is it that The Voice is going to do differently? That's not exactly the same.
Rowan, this is the logical heart of the flaw at the logical heart of the whole idea. If suddenly somehow we take one of these advisory bodies, we bolt it on to the Constitution, but then allegedly, according to Albanese, it will only be advisory and will have absolutely no justiciability in the High Court. It will have absolutely no authority. It will not be, something that will be feared and respected, as some people have suggested. It will just simply be a talking shop where ideas from whence they might flow, that will solve all of the problems of Indigenous disadvantage.
You say that it's only advisory, but it was Albanese himself who said it would be a brave government that would ignore The Voice. Well, yes, Prime Minister springs to mind, very brave, very courageous. So, oh, God, I better not do that then. So no government is going to oppose The Voice if it is enshrined in the Constitution.
OK, I'm going to disagree with James here. So let's start the first show of the year with a 5.
Let's do it.
Beauty.
Ding, ding.
Peter Dutton, I do not agree with you at all that he is managing this in a way that is, building up a campaign that is a sound strategy. You look at the poll numbers, Albanese's flying. You look at some of the polling on this particular issue. The Liberals, from the moment this was announced on election night, they should have had a firm position based on principle. You don't need further detail to say a race-based referendum is not a good idea. You don't need further detail to say we do not want the democratic principle of one man, one vote undermined by a race-based process where only certain people based on their ethnicity can participate. You don't need further detail to have a principled position, and he hasn't, and I think that is going to be a problem. And I think a lot of people who are not particularly engaged in the political process have already made up their mind on this.
Well, OK, look, I will say to you, you are absolutely right that a race-based referendum is the last thing that this country needs, and Peter Dutton absolutely should, and I hope will come out and say that. Perhaps he'll come out and say something around Australia Day when we should really be talking about, what makes this country what it is. But, Rita, I want you to put yourself back in the shoes of the Liberals the day after Election Day, when they just had a thumping loss to Labour. All of the stories are about division within the Liberals. The Liberals are a spent force. Everything else, the party room is already all over the shop. Now, Peter Dutton comes in over the top. Imagine this. Just think about the politics here. He comes in over the top, says, we are, as a party room, united, going to say no going forward. Well, you know what? You're going to have a whole bunch of wets in that party room who are going to go out and they will make the entire media narrative about how the Liberals are divided over this. They'll be saying plenty of yes people within the Liberal camp. They'll go to crossbenches and things like that, and the narrative will be completely lost around what is a very good cause.
But it's been some 8 months now, so there's been plenty of time to manage that situation. There's 8 months now, and we've still got those 4 or 5 wets. It's always the same people. The same small group of troublemakers.
Andrew Bragg, people like that.
We can name them all.
The bedwetters.
Who are still giving that sense that the party room is divided, that if he does state a firm position, that there's going to cause all sorts of angst within the party room. So that hasn't been handled. We're still sitting on the fence whilst the government has ran this strong campaign. You can say it's not sound, you can say it's all style, no substance, sure, but it's being effective. And then you're going to have
How can you say, what evidence do you have? What evidence do you have that it's effective?
We've had the debate. Good
All
debate.
right, okay,
both of you did really well. I think Rita's 100% correct. I think James is 100% correct. I'm, of course, 110% correct in saying that. Historically, Rita is absolutely right. I think, I'm sensing that Dutton is moving towards taking the Liberals to a no position, and in doing so, he's doing James's political strategy, which strikes me as an intelligent one to go with.